Like a salt sauna, guys. Salt sauna, guys.
This month, as we celebrate women, we also celebrate the importance of having powerful conversations about money, leadership, and financial freedom.
At that point, I decided to leave and start a business. And if I know that holding a business was this hard, I would have kept my nice fat salary.
And then eventually leaving that job and thinking, this might just be like a natural step that I go through. In my mind, loans and the attachment or access to finance is not something that I'm thinking of as a first thing. And so I gravitated to something else. I was going to do cosmetics, by the way. I was going to do cosmetics. I started to do the research on it. And I don't even like to wear makeup, which is a very strange dynamic there.
Today's discussion is about building wealth, overcoming setbacks, taking risks, owning our financial power.
Zambia is a very, very rich country. We just don't know what to do with our riches. Gold is money. Emeralds are money, and the value of emeralds from 2017 to date is 3 times more in the rough state. We were lucky enough to bid and win at an auction and embedded a nanoparticle that can be coded with traceability, whatever factors, or blockchain, so that going forward, the world will understand that the best emeralds that have come around came from this coordinate. And the coordinates are Zambia.
I do regret leaving formal employment because, there was the comfort of it. But also, I think to myself, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to contribute to the solution that is locally bred.
Give to gain.
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 Great, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Hi everyone, happy Women's Month and welcome to the Money Couch. My name is Misozi and I'll be moderating today's conversation. This month, as we celebrate women, we also celebrate the importance of having powerful conversations about money, leadership, and financial freedom. In line with this year's theme, our conversation today will center on giving financial skills to gain financial freedom. Because when women understand money, control money, and grow money, we just don't change our own lives. We transform families, communities, and economies. To begin, we're going to start with introductions, but the women that I have here with me today actually do not need any introductions. But for the sake of our viewers out there, I'll start with my left. Miranda, please tell us a little bit about yourself and the journey of becoming you.
Wow, that's an interesting question. The journey of becoming me. Hi everyone, I'm Miranda. Naidoo. I live in Zambia. I recently moved here, I think like 7 months ago now, but I am South African. I was based in Johannesburg. I'm the founder and CEO of a business called Scale, and Scale focuses on infrastructure payments enablement. So very simply, if any business in the ecosystem wants to issue a MasterCard, they come to us and we take care of all of the technical payments, heavy lifting behind it to get the product live in the markets. The journey of becoming me is, quite interesting, but I'd say I've had a very rough childhood background. I started working when I was in school. I worked and studied part-time. In fact, I studied public relations, got a diploma in media practice. And then I got an opportunity to enter the payment space. And somebody took a chance on me, gave me an opportunity to visit most of sub-Saharan Africa and learn the different markets, the cultural nuances, how people live, what do they need, what the payment landscape looks like. And my career grew in that journey. I left that business. I went to Visa for 2 years. I was the head of fintech at Visa. I hated it. I hate corporate culture. I can slit my wrists and die. It's just super toxic. It was more limiting than it was enabling and empowering. And at that point, I decided to leave and start a business. And if I know that holding a business was this hard, I would have kept my nice fat salary. I'm kidding, but it's been the most fulfilling, I think, period of my life. In the past 2 and a bit years, building this business. And I think more so being a founder, it's more about who you become as a person than the business that you actually build. And I guess I'm not there yet when I can say like,
my journey is over as a human being. You know? I'm still in that process. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still fighting. And I think there's lots more exciting things ahead of me. So yeah, that's you.
Wow, really exciting stuff. Yeah, great stuff. And well done.
Well done.
Yes.
Zambia.
7 months, huge. You've survived.
I'm fresh.
All right, great. Moving on to my right, Mwiche.
Yes.
Please tell us about your journey of becoming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having us all here today. My name is Mwiche Mukoma. I'm the CEO and founder of Green Giraffe Zambia Limited. We are an agri-tech startup company. We help aggregators post their goods and then we offtake from smallholder farmers. We've come up with a traceability system which has been embedded with AI, and we're able to secure data via blockchain. We also have a brand that sells ready-to-eat, decadent snacks. All of these are locally produced from farmers, whether it's a fruit, crisp, or teas. We would like people to enjoy Zambian flavor in a box. At Green Giraffe, we're very passionate about the environment, and so we encourage farmers to use natural fertilizers such as biochar, or just practice regenerative agriculture, because we believe that there is a future for every Zambian. And we hope that we can provide the optimization that this country needs to really leverage on digital tools in agriculture. The journey of becoming me, I don't know why we always laugh when we all just have hindsight when we think about it. So I actually began work in a financial institution. I was really fortunate to do quite a number of things. But in Zambia, 1 in 8 people derives an occupation from agriculture. So it's something you can say everyone has had a hand in. But when I discovered that that sector contributes to less than 6% of our gross domestic product, I won't lie, my thinking hat came on. I'm like, I need to figure this out. Obviously, you've been waiting for me. And then when I tried to do it, I also failed. So really just how to build that bridge for me became a passion project. Since we started in 2022, we've built a multiple award-winning brand in different industries. We've employed over 20 people. We've empowered over 500 farmers. And now we've scaled technology from here to Angola, and hopefully we'll do it to the rest of Africa. I do regret leaving formal employment because, you know, there was the comfort of it.
Yeah.
But also, I think to myself, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to contribute to the solution that is locally bred. So I'm very Zambian, brought up here all my life, went to school at University of Zambia. And every time I meet people, people ask me, so you run a snack company or a tech company? Obviously. You lived abroad. And I'm like, no, we have a lot of people with a lot of solutions, but you just need the right environment to help you get there. And so I'm really, really excited that 4 years down the line, I'm really enjoying what I do every day.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Mwiche.
Like a salt sauna.
Oh, yeah.
Salt sauna.
Great. Thank you so much, Mwiche. Now, moving on to Rashmi. Please tell us about the journey of becoming Rashmi.
How far back do you want to go?
Way back.
As far back as we can.
Jacaranda, Kabalonga Girls, Lake Road International School. Was hoping to study medicine, ended up studying computer science and mathematics. My father was with the, he was a civil servant with Ministry of Mines, he was an analytical chemist, surveyed the land, realized what the potential, you know, Zambia has under its ground, and that nobody local was actually adding any value or taking advantage of its natural resources and minerals, and decided that he would, along with his children. So my brother, Dr. Raj Sharma, was studying mining engineering at UNZA. I had to learn how to make jewelry after hours. I was at WITS in South Africa. I went in 1994 to South Africa. Yeah, I can tell you how old I am.
Just when you became a Democrat.
Just when
23.
I'm only 23.
Okay, yeah, or I could reverse that and say I'm 35. But yeah. Yes, in the evenings I would learn how to manufacture jewelry while finishing off my undergrad and lots of part-time jobs.
Yeah.
And my brother started with, commissioning, buying and selling gems while I was studying. But before I went to university, I was working at Aquarel, which is an aquamarine mining company, and ERZ. Oh my God, I think I've been working my entire life. And then so I graduated. I have a bachelor's from Wits University, a BSc, and then I'm a fellow of the Gemological Association of Great Britain. So I went away to Bath University for my master's, quit that, went to London, did a lot of work to finish my diploma, became a fellow, Jewelry Council South Africa, did appraisals, valuations, continuous career improvement, continuous gem associated, mineral associated, jewelry associated, diploma after diploma. Finally came back to Zambia, settled in 2000. We started Jewel of Africa in 1992, by the way, the year my father no longer had a job. Started training a few jewelers, made my own jewelry in the beginning, while my brother was still doing my buying and selling. Then we realized that there was, we needed to add value to the gems. We weren't happy with just selling the rough stones. He was mining by then in Mukushi, Serenje area, green tourmaline. We would fly around the world selling rough stones. Realized we went to Tucson in the US, and that, the value addition selling them was like 10-fold, 100-fold. So if we cut and polished, my brother knew how to cut and polish. My dad sent him off to India to learn how to do that. And then I was training and teaching how to make jewelry. And so it just, the whole, the complementary skills, my brother's financial background, we both have MBAs, and he has an MBA in finance, mine is in marketing. He carried on with the Harvard degree, and he has a doctorate, blah, blah, blah. But I stuck to manufacturing jewelry, certification, training, and I do a lot of talks and certification globally, right? So our main market, 90% of our market is international business. In fact, I'm talking tonight about international business with the University of Utah. So I do a lot of talks internationally on how to scale your business, diversify. It's not just one product, it's not just jewelry. We talk about investment pieces, investment in gold, investment in mining, investment in value addition. We work with UNHCR. We've trained 22 refugees, 2 of which have continued to stay on as trainees, but they've become so good that they're actually helping to train Zambians. Jewel of Africa supports quite a number of community schools, and we see potential in these students who leave school in grade 12, and we bring them on for a trial run. If they're good, they stay. Yeah, this is how we keep on growing. We've trained hundreds of jewelers and cutters since 1992. And some of them have stayed, some of them have not stayed on purpose, or, but the idea of Jewel of Africa is to empower Zambians. So even when they leave us, they can go out there and start their own business and see how it feels. All right, so that's the journey. We've started writing the curriculum because the sense is that Zambians don't understand what they have. And if you don't know what you have, you don't know how to value add. And having the best emeralds in the world, for example, having over 20 different species of gemstones and minerals. Zambia is a very, very rich country. It's not, we just don't know what to do with our riches. And so I've started writing, Jewel of Africa started writing the curriculum. So we've handed in the primary as the treasure map. There's your map of Zambia. It's blank. Fill it in with all the mineral resources, and that's going to be an exam question. And by the time you get to secondary, it's the sciences, the chemistry, that silica bonds with aluminium and beryllium to give you beryl. And if it's chromium, it's an emerald. If it's iron, it's an aquamarine, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that comes together in the economics of it. Money. Gold is money. Emeralds are money, and the value of emeralds from 2017 to date is 3 times more in the rough state. And what we did in 2017 is we were lucky enough to bid and win at an auction and embedded a nanoparticle that can be coded with traceability, whatever factors or blockchain, so that going forward, the world will understand that the best emeralds that have come around came from this coordinate.
Yeah.
And the coordinates are Zambian. Right? And we started writing those stories. We're working with historians to create designs that are local. So you've got folklore, you've got all of these, wildebeest fighting, caveman paintings, friction drums, and some of these designs I've created into adorable jewelry pieces that are affordable, and they've gone, internationally very well recognized and accepted. And so then the stories start coming out. People say, oh, Zambia has this and Zambia has that. And that's what we've lacked. And hence the education comes in. And I think that's your biggest investment, is an education to make you understand these are your options. What are you going to do with it? Because you are educated enough to know now.
Yeah. Great. No, thank you so much. And that is actually in line with Women's Month theme, actually, which is give to gain.
Yes.
You've already shared stories about the women that you've empowered. You've shared stories about the farmers that you've empowered. And you are also a product of chance. So I think great stuff. Yes. I'm going to pause here so that Evelyn can join.
Africa.
Very on jewel. I like that name. I could take it.
Cool.
All right. Hi, Evelyn, and welcome to the Money Couch. Please tell us the story or the journey of your becoming.
I always had a snag, I think, talking about it, because I think a million things, are always happening as you are building yourself, your business. And I think for me, I was becoming a mother at the same time, building a business and then building a career, because I came out of university as an economist. A year down the line, I get a job in finance. And then I'm thinking one day I'm going to get this Bank of Zambia job, because ultimately every economist wants to be either working in the Ministry of Finance or with the Bank of Zambia. But it's that foundation at my first job in finance, which was essentially me being intrigued with staff accounts and each really contributing to revenue and picking up this revenue line and working in a retail chain at the time where 40% of the customer base was actually coming in from the customers. And I was basically managing what that aging looked like and just starting to learn behavioral dynamics around it. And I think there was a lot of technology built off of that. Once you give loans to staff, what's the impact, what's the behavioral outcome, and starting to learn that and realizing that I was in a space where informally I was doing it with friends. I'm now in my first job, and I'm now doing it with in my work and with the staff. And then eventually leaving that job and thinking, this might just be like a natural step that I go through. But I think in my mind, loans and the attachment or access to finance is not something that I'm thinking of as a first thing. And so I gravitated to something else. I was going to do cosmetics, by the way. Yeah. I was going to do cosmetics. And I started to do the research on it. And I don't even like to wear makeup, which is a very strange dynamic there. But so I do that. And in the meantime, the natural step for, I think, almost every Zambian entrepreneur is to have a trading business, get your first deal, and we've got a number of invoices, and as that started to grow, we couldn't get money from the formal sectors. So the formal institutions just couldn't give us the money. We didn't qualify. We didn't have collateral. And we realized that we then were working for the informal sector, which is basically a conventional loan shark. And you basically borrow money from them, you supply your invoice, and you pay them back everything that you actually make. And so we then decide, fine, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to build this platform specifically for women. I'm a woman struggling to get financing. This must be the same narration across the industry. And that's sort of how we start to build ourselves around just my perhaps entry into access to finance and building my career in finance, and thinking through what are the things we're going to do to make it practical, because by the way, we start with very little money, and we're then purporting to create a bank for SMEs. So you don't dream as big if you don't even have the money. So how do you build a bank? How do you start to think through all of that conversation? And so technology was then going to be the enabler that we use to provide reach to our customers, and how do we quickly start to look at the different customer segments that we then want to target. And at the time, it was women for me, because I was hell-bent on there's going to be a successful woman product. And unfortunately, this is something that I'm still trying to figure out up until now. And so I always like to just say that out loud. And so naturally, as we then build the products that we are building now in our business, we've looked at SME communities, we've looked at individual communities, and it's always predominantly male. But women are the highest excluded demographics. And I say this again with a lot of caution, because women, again, are the ones who are actually competing economically, are the highest individuals who have a lot of economic activity going on, and a lot of that goes undocumented. And so because of that, we're still in spaces where we can't support women, we can't have the actual data or data points to actually support women the correct way. And so men have taken up this space where everything is formalized and everything is documented, and it's easy to support a man to shift them from one place to another. And so my career is now around how do we build something successful for women, and is it impactful and meaningful to change a way of doing things for women, and are we even building something valuable for them, and does it even make sense? And so that's a lot of the homework that I'm doing.
Okay.
Now.
Oh, great stuff. Very powerful women, I must say, that I'm seated with today on this money couch. Oh, this is our money couch, by the way.
This is our money couch.
Money couch.
Should be green.
It should be green. Agreed. Yeah. Okay, so
All the signs on it.
yes. So we're going to move on to the next part of our chat. And on this side, I just want to, because I think what we've touched on is very similar, very different, but very similar. But one thing that came out, I think, as most of the women, most of the people that I'm sitting with here were sharing their stories of becoming, is the side hustle culture, right? I think I heard a few people talk about, I was employed before I started my journey, I worked here. So what do you think about that? Is it empowerment or survival? I'll start with you, Mwiche.
Okay, cool. So, and I was eager to do this because I was in a discussion with someone today, beautiful young lady who walks up to me and says, I think my first job should pay me 80,000 kwacha.
Wow.
And I'm like, that is amazing. And I said, I'm sure everyone around is like, women are now empowered. And for me, it always comes back to, okay, you want to get paid 80,000 kwacha. What are you doing to create wealth for 80,000 kwacha? So when people say I'm worth so much, I always think it's like you're working for other people. And this is why I like you said burdened. So when she said 80,000 kwacha, I'm like, so she's probably thinking I need to take care of my parents. I need to pay rent. I need to buy a car. And for me, that's not progression. To be able to create wealth, 80,000 is so small. If you're able to manipulate instruments and multiply that across millions of women, and they're able to generate an income that somehow you're responsible for, 80,000 is so small. And so I love that question because you're thinking 2026, we have tech, we have jewels. I mean, you've got everything going for you. You've got people to look up to, you've got communities, you've got incubators, you have money that you can get from Lupiya. Obviously, you are creating multi-million-dollar industries. And unfortunately, it's not there. And so I think the burden is still quite heavy. We're still thinking of eating. It's less about creating. And so Yeah, that was my experience this morning. Like it jarred me. Because I was like, I don't know whether she thought I should pay her 80,000. I didn't know how to answer. Maybe. But that was my opinion.
Yeah.
That it just felt she was burdened.
Right.
And I'm like, I need you to open your mind. Can you manipulate? Even if I give you 80,000 today, can you make 80 million? I loved how you talked about initially you start with one sector and you move to the next. How do I scale that?
Right.
Is this problem in 1 million people? And can those 1 million people generate more?
Yeah.
Because again, if you've got more people generating it, guys, that's a whole movement coming up. So that was my opinion on that.
Okay, no, thank you very much, Mwiche. And I'll move on to Rashmi, and I'll change the question slightly. So investment, because you did talk about always speaking on international platforms and selling our Zambian gems or introducing other countries to our Zambian gems. So in terms of finances, is it for you, is it more on the savings or more on the investments?
I think our saving is our company, is all the equipment in the company. It's the diggers, it's the soldering, laser soldering machines. It's the investment in the people, in the girls. I mean, like she was saying, I have had to train girls who think that they need to be employed because they are on my bench and they've been practicing how to cut a straight line for a year. I'm sorry, you haven't made me any money. At the end of the day, we're not a charity organization. We are trying to grow this business, but we will grow it for the people who want to take it on personally and grow it further, because it's actually not even an industry. We don't even have supporting staff with supporting industries. Even our saw blades are imported, right? Who is actually creating stuff that we can use locally? You know, even with gold, you know, there are other jewelers who are making jewelry, yes, but do they know the caratage and the quality of the gold that is being used? Right? We have XRF equipment that tests each and every piece that leaves the office, wherever it goes. I mean, we've learned the hard way. We haven't done everything correctly, but we've learned from our bad experiences. And luckily, we've had clients who have supported us through those hard times, tumultuous times when we've been robbed, or, you know, I've sent a consignment out to the US and it turns out to be silver instead of white gold because they pocketed the yellow gold and then the alloy wasn't mixed, etc., etc. And so we started from scratch, and I've fired the whole lot and started making it myself. So this is the thing about education, is if the business goes bust, you can recreate it because you have the competence. And this is how we're trying to build this industry one by one. And it's still very, very tiny. Only recently as the government also started talking about it. But for the last 30 years, I've been, you know, pushing to say, please, can we talk about our gems? Can we talk about our emeralds? Why is Africa known for Tanzanite? Because the Tanzanian government does a fantastic job at marketing. Our leaders need to market what we have, and people will come in. I still have people who jet set in at midnight, buy their emeralds and go out. All right, so that says that the ones who are really interested in investment quality gems, they still know where to find us. The Zambians don't know. All right, and if you're going to put your money in a piece of jewelry, know that it's an actual investment that you're making, and it's not an accessory. All right, you can spend lots of money on accessorizing, but it's not going to pay you back. I went to ISL, which is the international school, and how did my parents, being a civil servant, afford that? It's because my mother had the gold to sell, and that's how they educated me, through, you know, selling her jewelry and through university and everything, until my brother started generating, and then I started generating, and this is how we educated ourselves. But that was our saving. If you think about it, my mother's saving was our saving. But it was hard times. I mean, we lived one house, one room.
It's actually both savings and investing. From what you just shared.
Correct. We've grown organically. And we're still growing. I mean, we have to mine more, you know, because now the orders are coming in bigger. So if you have to convince the big jewelry houses to purchase from you, you have to have the stock. If your mine is only producing 5 stones and you're required to have 1,000 calibrated pieces that look exactly the same, you can't fulfill that order.
Exactly.
And that's when people start buying in and trading. So this entire gemstone industry has been based on trading. I mean, ever since I joined, I know the other places that they're purchasing and saying it's been done locally, but the mold is made from somewhere else and they're putting the gemstone in. There's a handful of people who are doing it locally. Yeah. So know your gold, know your gemstones, know what you're purchasing.
Lots to learn from you. No, great stuff. Moving over to you, Miranda. You said you're new in Zambia. Welcome. Have you noticed any barriers as a woman in business and operating in Zambia? Okay.
Where do you begin?
It kind of comes, on the back of this conversation. I think, like your earlier question was, is it survival or is it, what was it? What is that?
So it was around side hustle.
Yes. Is it survival?
Survival or burden or empowerment, actually. Survival empowerment, yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of off of that because my experience is twofold. It's the home sector and the informal sector, right? I operate in the home sector. I will go to established businesses that have a use case for me. Like if we spoke to a green giraffe, they could say, hey, how do you put your business on a card? Right? Or how do you launch a loyalty card for rewards for your snacks, right? I go to the telcos, I go to the banks, I go to fintechs. And when I'm operating in that environment, women are thriving and they are empowered and they are doing incredible things that is paying forward to their careers, right? When you look at the informal sector of the market, and the same goes for my own country, they have the largest wealth disparity in the world in South Africa, right? And that is the difference between the rich and the poor. So if you look at the informal sector in Zambia, and I'll tell you a story, I found a girl through a friend who plats hair, and I told Evelyn this some time back, but she's in Kaingu market. And I went there, and typically for me, like back home, I would not go to the Johannesburg CBD to get my hair braided. But for some reason, I was comfortable enough to do it here because the country gave me a sense of security and safety. So I went, and when I met her, she was wearing a Lupiya t-shirt. And then I asked her, have you worked with Lupiya? Did you get a loan from me? Did you want to tour the money? And she explained that she took a loan from Lupiya, but she couldn't get it from anywhere else. And that loan that she got was she was able to buy the stock. And this is big, like it's hairspray, and it's combs, and oil. And she's telling me her story. She's telling me about her background. She's got like 3 siblings. She's got parents who aren't working. They're living in a structured building that's been borrowed to them from one of their other relatives. But there's no running water. There's no electricity, and there's no windows. And like it's rainy season. How are you surviving? This girl has what many would call a side hustle.
It's her bread and butter.
She has to make enough money to pay her staff, to send money home, to buy food for everybody that she's looking after, and the extra essentials that they need as family to live. That's life. Nobody, in my view, very easily will look at this girl and say, you know what, let me take a chance on you. Let me invest in your business. Let me help you grow this business. Let me give you the skills and the education and the teaching that you need in order to take it from a small little shop in the market to maybe 2 shops in that market. And let's fix your roots and do those kind of things, right? And I think that's a human level thing, because formal sector businesses and typically the circles that move the money are very selfish. And they want that, they want to take the money that they have and make more money out of it. Then talk about, community and the impact that you're making with the business just because it sells and it's hype and it's PR. And I think, and I'm not saying that this is what's happening in Zambia, I'm going to give you an overview of my experience across the continent. Right? I think when it comes down to it, women are empowered depending on the segment of that market that they sit in. right? If you have access to community, if you have access to network, if you have access to people that you know that can contribute something of value to you, they will give you an opportunity. And what you do with that, to Rashmi's point, is up to them to double and multiply. But there are some women in the environment that do have a side business, do have a small business, and they need the right level of support to take it to the next stage. And again, I'll bring it back home. When I speak to this girl, she's not asking for money.
No.
She's saying, you know what the problem I have is?
It's just
I asked these girls to come and help me. I'm at the top, somebody needs to finish the ends, right? So it's like a piece job. But the problem is that these girls are late. I'm paying them commission, and they're vegan. They're not dedicated, they're not pushing. So instead of me taking 10 ladies a day, I would only take 5 because the goals are slow. So what advice is she? Okay, why don't you put your core team on a base salary, something small, and then give them commission on every single client that you can, so that you can increase your revenue, but you can maintain your staff because you need them in order to continue growing business.
Right.
Where is she going to get that access from?
Exactly.
If she's not getting it from me, you know? So I think that when you talk about empowerment, I think that whether you impact one person's life or you impact the whole country, impact is impact. And I think often we blanket this, how impactful and how empowered women are, and the, you know, the value of what a business is doing to the community, as though it has to be this massive amount of people that benefit. But it doesn't. It just has to be one.
Exactly.
In order for you to call it impact, you know, and empowerment. So in summary, I'll say the following. I feel like it is a breath of fresh air for me when I see some of the executive bankers that I work with on a daily basis posting on their WhatsApp stories that they have just got a barrel in from Shein and they are now selling these 3-piece suits. And I'm like, I need some of that. Like, you know, how do I buy this? Can I pick it up from your office? Like, so in parts, yes, it's survival for most people because that's how big businesses are built. It starts as a small side hustle and a small business. But I think in most cases, it is trying to create different streams of revenue because, you know, the responsibility on most emerging Africans or emerging market Africans is that tax is a thing.
It is.
You're not just looking after yourself.
No.
Business. You're looking after your whole life.
Yeah.
And if you overlay that with the market condition, the geopolitical stuff that's happening around us, our leaders, can we trust them? Are they creating environments for us that fosters small business growth and economic movement and development and prosperity? Like, what is Lupiya's route of entering a new market? What is Scale's route as a foreign business entering Zambia? It's so difficult. It's kind of hard. So if you ask me about whether we're empowered, not yet. Are we on the way there? And are we making substantial progress brick by brick? Yes, of course.
No, I agree. I agreed with everything you said. I think we're on the right path. We're almost there, but we're just not there yet. But then that would then lead me to my last question, and I think I'll start with you, Evelyn. What does smart money moves look like to you?
Tough question, considering that this is basically our slogan here. And I think smart money to me is something that enables me to grow my income. And I think just being intentional about money that can help me sort of to an extent cover my bases. And I can then say, if I have a side hustle, I know that I can look for smart money to bring into the business. It's cheap, it's accessible, it's flexible enough with my type of cycles because we do different things. I could be a farmer, I could be a jeweler, I could be trying to bring out a platform like Scale. I could be trying to do sustainable snacks and what sort of value chain am I in? And can I have smart money that actually helps me? And where can I find it? And so smart money to me is access to money that can actually change the trajectory of what I'm doing and actually help me build a sustainable business.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mwiche, same question.
Oh, okay. Yes. So when I think of smart money, guys, I'm dumb. I'm really not that smart. So when I think of smart
very
money,
smart,
yes, I always think of money that's working for me. It doesn't require as much effort. And I think when you look at it from that angle, there's so many ways that you can grow your money in a smart way. Lupiya, you've forgotten to mention that when people invest with you, technically, you're investing smart. And I think it brings back to what you mentioned earlier. Do you first have something to start with? And I think that's the easiest way to start with. Unfortunately, most Zambian people haven't been in employment. When I mentioned that I was employed, I think probably less than 10% is employed in the formal section. So if you're privileged enough to have a job, okay, you have somewhere to start. And I liked how you mentioned savings. You have something to save. And so that's always my first bit. Guys, if you're working, I know the soft life is everyone's portion. However, start saving something because then you have something to leverage with. When I started my business, part of the confidence I had is I'd already built my own house. I'd already bought my first car. Most people haven't built their first house. They haven't built that first car. So start small. Lupiya's investments, savings group, it's a muscle, yes? And then to your point, side hustles. I love that when I open my WhatsApp, everyone is posting. I'm selling duvet, I'm selling rice. I'm like, you go. Yes. A lot of the time, I don't know why, you grow this money, you eat this money. Focus, my people. Put it back into the business. And I think this is now where the trajectory changes. Running a business, running a hobby, two different things. Yes? Running a business requires capital, expenses. You mentioned all those little things that come with, water. It's a real thing. But the point is, if you grow the business, the opportunities. When we started, it was selling snacks. Because of what we were dealing with and selling this finished product, this value-added product, other actors started coming in. Farmers started coming in, regenerative agriculture. And guess what? Bigger revenue. Our biggest revenue, believe it or not, is from the tech. And it's really funny because we're known for snacks. But that's because the mindset shifted. It just didn't become physically working. I love how you, like Evelyn is so humble. She's like, oh, we start, guys, the leap that Lupiya has done from, and I like your word, from a loan shark to a neobank, that is not automatic. That is a lot of intentionality. That's paying for compliances that people don't even know about. That's trying to build in something that doesn't even exist. But it really also comes from an obsession with feeding this customer, delighting this customer, and keeping this customer. So even as you're posting on your WhatsApp status, I'm selling this, I'm selling that, do you really care about me? Or is this something just transactional? Beyond that, your smart money, guys, like I said, the tech for me right now, it's like my favorite baby. I'm just like, baby, you did that? I didn't even know what you were doing and you're already in 2 other countries? Look at you. But that's smart money. But it had to start from somewhere. And so my encouragement, number one, is it's possible. Evelyn, unless I'm joking, guys, Rashmi, is it possible?
Oh, no, I'm with you.
Yes.
With you.
So it is possible, but it's a huge leap. You don't just work hard, work smart. Work with what you have. And don't keep thinking, oh, I'll never be able to start a mining space. I'll never be able to start it. Start with what you have, but you need to start somewhere. And that's why I liked your point as well about education. Sometimes people will tell me, oh, I want to study, okay, since we're landlocked, I can joke about it. Oceanography. Please, all those who are doing oceanography, it's a beautiful course. But when you study these courses, you want to leverage a skill that will give you an income. This income will give you independence. Hopefully, you won't just be buying soft life things, but it will empower you to make better decisions and really, really analyze. Like I said, in Zambia, we have a lot of problems. And you have a unique insight because of your experiences, because of what she went through. She was able to come up with a product now that is being scaled across the world. Because of what she went through and she saw in other women, we moved from a loan shark to a neobank. Because of what she's seen. Guys, it is very important for us to use what we have. But it also helps if you understand what you're doing. You'll understand that this is not just a transaction to feed me, to survive, but that can empower other people.
Other people as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like you hit the nail on the head, right?
Yeah.
When you say, like, we all, I think there is a soft life culture.
Yes.
That's, especially within the Gen Z, you know,
Yeah.
generation that follows us, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you also can't have this conversation in isolation of like societal norms and culture.
Yeah.
Because today, like, and I speak to a lot of young girls in Zambia, right?
Yeah.
In Lusaka, and they're working. And when you talk to them like, do you have a man? No, because he didn't buy me this, or he doesn't drive this car. I want a soft life. And, like, this is my maintenance bill, and he bought me this wig and not this one. And I'm like, girl, what?
What are you
Like,
talking
what are you talking
About, yeah.
Smart money is like, it's how do we do this for ourselves?
Yes.
You know, how do you pay your own maintenance bill? How do you do soft life for yourself? And I feel like there's a big societal thing, and South Africa is also known for it. Like, slave queens galore. But like, it's almost like, it's fresh, but it's like, you know, we have to do more, and it's our responsibility to try and shift and shape that mindset and thought process. The society side, so it impacts and benefits on the financial side.
Exactly.
Because they go hand in hand.
They do.
You know, it's lifestyle. What do you want to achieve in your life? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? And for young women today, I think they're quite impressionable.
Oh, yes.
You know, it's like we had to do it for ourselves, and that mindset has now shifted into something different, and we have to shift back.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah.
So, I mean, adding on to both the girls, it also has to do a lot with how you're being brought up.
Yes.
Okay, so if you've got rich folks who've done everything for you, and now suddenly the oil prices are through the roof and you can no longer afford, your father's not going to pay for you. Flight back home.
Yes.
Get a job. You can, but it's also it's traditional, it's cultural, it's how wealthy your parents are at the end of the day. Now, my parents were wealthy in education, right, and that's what they passed on to us. Maybe that my son has two options. He's graduating. He can either be a doctor or he can be a geologist. He doesn't have much of an option apart from those two, because that's what my father did to me. Right, you will study this and you will end up with this, and you will run this business. I mean, doesn't matter if you want to get married or not, you can support yourself. Right? And that's the other thing my mother and my father was like, don't be a dependent, be independent. So what is the story about I want to be the queen and somebody else must sponsor that life? Only your father can sponsor that life, and hopefully you get a cool inheritance out of that. The problem, I mean, with most miners actually start off being farmers, because while they're plowing the land, that's when they're digging up metals and ore, and they realize the quick buck they make with gemstones. I mean, 1 kilo of tourmaline is $40,000. It's a lot. I mean, this is this, and then they buy their Mercedes, and then they can't maintain the Mercedes because you have to go back and dig some more. All right, and then you've got an order, but unless you've got that discipline, right, you're going to be very superficial. I mean, there's a lot of hollow people, personalities out there. You know, they dress well, they wear branded stuff, but you know, support local, grow it from the inside out, take the whole society with you, take your neighbor with you, and that's pretty much what Jewel of Africa is all about.
And that is smart money. Well, thank you very much, ladies. In conclusion, if I could just summarize what everybody has shared today, especially in line with the theme, the Women's Month theme, I think there's a lot of learning, and there's a lot of failing, and then relearning, and then, you know, becoming who we're actually meant to be. So thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us on the Money Couch.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure having you with us. Thank you.